There's a moment in every love story where time stands still. The first kiss, the whispered promises, the feeling that you've found the missing piece of yourself in another person. It's intoxicating. It feels inevitable, like fate has finally placed you where you were always meant to be. But then, something shifts. Slowly, the magic starts to erode. The conversations that once lasted for hours become shorter, filled with silences that grow heavier. The person who once felt like home begins to feel like a stranger. And one day, you wake up and ask yourself a terrifying question. What happened to us? The truth is, most relationships are not built to last. Not because love is impossible, but because we misunderstand its nature. We enter relationships believing they will save us, complete us, fulfill us in ways we never learned to fulfill ourselves. But love is not just a fairy tale. It's a journey of growth and understanding, where we learn to face our unseen fears and build deeper connections. So why do most relationships fail? And more importantly, what can we do to change that? This is not just another video about relationship tips or how to keep the spark alive. This is an unfiltered dive into the deep psychological and philosophical forces that determine whether love survives or crumbles. Let's start at the beginning. The reason we fall in love in the first place. Love feels like magic, but it's not. It's psychology, biology, and a tangled mess of unconscious patterns shaped by our past. When you fall for someone, you might think it's because of their charm, their humor, or the way they make you feel understood. But in reality, your attraction is not random. It's deeply rooted in the emotional blueprint you've been carrying since childhood. Every person has an invisible relationship blueprint formed in their earliest years. This blueprint is made up of the way they were loved or not loved. It's shaped by the warmth, neglect, stability, or chaos they experienced growing up. And without realizing it, they spend their adult lives recreating the emotional patterns they knew as children, even when those patterns were unhealthy. Have you ever wondered why people are drawn to toxic relationships? Why do some repeatedly fall for emotionally unavailable partners? Why do others self-sabotage when things are finally going well? The answer lies in attachment theory, the psychological model that explains how our early relationships dictate our adult love lives. Psychologists have identified 3 main attachment styles that define how we behave in relationships. 1. Secure attachment. These people grew up with emotionally available caregivers, so they feel safe in relationships. They communicate openly, trust easily, and don't fear abandonment. Their relationships are stable and fulfilling. 2. Anxious attachment. These individuals experienced inconsistent love. Sometimes their caregivers were present, sometimes they weren't. This made them cling to love, fearing abandonment. As adults, they often need constant reassurance, overanalyze texts, and feel insecure even in healthy relationships. 3. Avoidant attachment. These people learned that emotional closeness wasn't safe. Their caregivers may have been cold, distant, or dismissive of their emotions. As a result, they push people away, crave independence, and struggle with vulnerability in relationships. Most people assume they choose their partners freely, but in reality, their attachment style is choosing for them. The anxiously attached person chases love desperately. The avoidant partner pulls away the moment things get too intimate. And together, they create a vicious cycle. One panicking at the thought of losing love, the other running from it. This is why most relationships fail. Not because love isn't real, but because we enter it carrying wounds we don't even recognize. Love is supposed to feel like home. But what if home was a place of unpredictability, chaos, or conditional love? What if the kind of love you chase is just a reflection of the wounds you haven't healed? Most people don't fall in love with who's best for them. They fall in love with what's familiar. Your subconscious isn't looking for happiness. It's looking for patterns it recognizes. If you grew up in a home where love was unpredictable, where affection was given and taken away without warning, your subconscious will seek that same emotional roller coaster in adulthood. If love in your past felt like chasing someone who never fully chose you, you might mistake emotional unavailability for passion. If love in your past felt like walking on eggshells, you might feel anxious in stable relationships and attracted to partners who create tension. If love in your past felt like proving yourself over and over, you might mistake people who make you work for their affection as the right ones. And here's where it gets dangerous. What feels like chemistry is often just familiarity in disguise. Many people say, "I just want a love that excites me, that feels intense." But emotional intensity is not love. It's adrenaline. It's the body's response to unpredictability, to the fear of loss, to the highs and lows of chasing someone who doesn't fully choose you. This is why stable relationships can feel boring at first. When you've been conditioned to equate love with emotional extremes, someone who communicates openly and consistently can seem too easy. You might tell yourself, "There's no spark." But what you really mean is, there's no anxiety. And because of this, most relationships fail before they even have a chance to succeed. We don't choose partners, we choose patterns. Until we break them, we will continue the cycle of pain, longing, and disappointment, mistaking the thrill of dysfunction for real love. But here's the real question. If everything we've been taught about love is wrong, if it's not about chasing, passion-fueled arguments, or dramatic reunions, then what is love actually supposed to be? The answer is unsettling. Real love is quiet. Not in the dull, lifeless way we fear, but in the way a deep river moves, steady, unwavering, and powerful beneath the surface. It doesn't rely on the adrenaline of uncertainty or the desperate highs and lows of dysfunction. It's not about proving your worth, fixing someone, or earning affection. Yet most people reject this kind of love because they've been conditioned to believe that without drama, love isn't real. We grew up watching movies where love meant overcoming impossible obstacles, dramatic fights leading to passionate reconciliations, and toxic behaviors disguised as romance. These stories shape our expectations, making us confuse pain with depth, chaos with excitement, and unhealthy attachment with destiny. But real love isn't about grand gestures. It's about consistency, effort, and emotional safety. If you want a relationship that lasts, it must be built on 3 key foundations. 1. Emotional safety. Love should never feel like walking on eggshells. A healthy relationship makes you feel seen, heard, and safe. 2. Shared values, not just feelings. Attraction may evolve over time, but shared principles create lasting connections. Love thrives not just on emotions, but on a deep alignment in values and life goals. 3. Effort over time. Love isn't found, it's built. The strongest relationships come from choosing each other daily, even when it's hard. Many people stay in one-sided relationships because they confuse potential with reality. When love is unbalanced, it creates a cycle of hope and disappointment. One day, they show you glimpses of the person you wish they were. The next, they pull away again. This cycle is addictive because the highs feel so good that they make you forget the lows. It tricks your brain into believing that if you just try harder, wait longer, or love more, everything will change. But the hardest truth in love is this: people don't change unless they want to. And if you have to convince, beg, or wait for them to choose you, they're already showing you their answer. If you keep attracting emotionally unavailable partners, it's about what you tolerate. Your relationships mirror your self-worth, boundaries, and unhealed wounds. To break the cycle, 1. Identify your relationship blueprint. What kind of love feels familiar? If it's full of anxiety and chasing, it's time to redefine love. 2. Stop chasing potential. Love isn't about fixing or waiting for someone to be ready. 3. Normalize healthy love. Security and stability aren't boring, they're safe. 4. Raise your standards. Love should bring clarity, not confusion. 5. Choose people who choose you. Love isn't about proving your worth. It's about being loved as you are. The love you deserve exists, but only if you make space for it. Love shouldn't feel like fighting to be chosen. Real love chooses you back. What are your thoughts on this? Have you ever found yourself stuck in these relationship patterns? Let's start a conversation in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future content. Your support helps bring more deep, thought-provoking discussions to life. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.